I feel some weird pressure tasting snacks with a professional chef.
When it comes to snacking, I'm quite simple.
How would you rate this?
I'll be diplomatic here.
What's interesting about your mentality is that 90% of your produce comes within 150 kilometers of the restaurant.
Yeah.
How did this local identity start taking shape, and how did you make it come together in Durban?
Have you had dinner service that felt worse than the last 10 kilometers of a comrade?
I think the worst service I've ever had was a breakfast service, to be honest. Only go for breakfast if you have time.
Okay.
This is What's the Difference? A Woolworths podcast celebrating extraordinary people and the difference that sets them apart.
And my name is Sibongile Mafu. I am a radio presenter, an MC, and a content creator. I love eating food, and I love talking about eating food.
I'm Steve Steinfeld, food critic, restaurant columnist, and avid traveler, which means I basically just travel to eat.
I hate you. And you will hate him too if you follow him on Instagram. I haven't liked a post of yours for about 3 years.
I've been keeping track, Sibs. I'm very aware of that.
Silently envying you, but the fact that Woolies gave us a budget and a mic still blows my mind.
100%. I'm very excited to be here with you.
Let's use this power responsibly.
Let's do it.
We are going to be speaking to some incredible people, and today's episode is no different. Today's guest is an award-winning chef behind one of the country's best restaurants. He is a trailblazer when it comes to sustainability and the use of indigenous, endemic, and local ingredients, with his menus focused on celebrating KZN's culinary and cultural diversity.
His restaurant, the LivingRoom at Summerhill Guest Estate, holds 3 Eat Out stars and the Eat Out Woolworths Green Star for sustainability. He is the chef changing the way we think about food in South Africa. He is the 2025 Eat Out Woolworths Financial Services Chef of the Year and Comrades Marathon runner, Chef Johannes Richter. Joy?
Yeah, it's lovely to be here with you. Thank you.
Great to have you on the show.
I thought Steve's LinkedIn was impressive. But yours is extra special as well. And before we start, I want to tell a story, because how I found out about you was through a friend who is also a Comrades Marathon runner and a lover of food. And
where you're going.
Yeah. And he put off committing to running the Comrades for years. And then he found out about your restaurant. And the thing that got him over the line, the thing that got him to KZN wasn't the marathon, it was your restaurant. And he was very proud that he was able to get a seat there and enjoy your food. So you have many fans out there.
Before we we snack.
This is low-key my favorite part.
Yeah, what are we snacking on today?
Super predictable. We've got the soft gums
some
there.
Soft eating gums.
Yes.
Joy, I don't know if you have a preference.
We have
some soot cookies over there.
Yeah, I call them like the star biscuits.
Yeah.
And then we also have
We've got some
of the snakes.
Jelly snakes.
The jelly snakes.
Yeah, there we go.
It's never ending. I feel like I'm on TikTok unboxing my groceries. Maybe you can
kitchen sink
You can
cookies.
open that, Joe.
Those look interesting.
Yeah. And then we have the passionate pineapple flavored cables. Should I open this?
Nice.
Or we'll start with
Let's start with the cookies, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Some solid ASMR coming in now, I imagine.
Are you a sweet tooth, Joe?
Not really. Yeah. I'm more on the cheese side when it comes to after meal endeavors, but I think, obviously we curate a pastry program as well at the LivingRoom, but it's not very classic pastry though. It's more kind of, it's different.
What are you foraging there in KZN?
For pastry.
Pastry chefs.
Well, at the moment we've got tree-ripe jackfruit, packs so much tropical flavor. And I couldn't eat it for a long time because whilst traveling Madagascar, I basically ate a whole jackfruit by myself. And after that, I couldn't see or smell a jackfruit for a while. But now we're getting this lovely tree-ripe jackfruit, and that's a part of our palate cleansing program.
What were you going through at the time?
Sheesh, no, next question.
Well, Joe, would you like to taste
Yeah, please.
everything but the kitchen sink cookie? One for you?
I feel some weird pressure tasting snacks with a professional chef, because I feel like your standards are super high for all foods. Are you serious when it comes to rating your snacks?
I think when it comes to snacking, I'm quite simple, savory, salty, lightly salted chips, hummus, biltong, that's kind of my vibe, yeah.
Okay, keep it simple.
Yeah.
How would you rate this?
Yeah, good. I mean, look,
You're allowed to be honest.
I'm a big fan of like, oats and things and biscuits. That's really something that I enjoy because it's just a little bit more on the, I think, savory side. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, there definitely are oats in here as well as, I mean...
Dried fruits also right up there when it comes to snacks, so yeah.
I think, you've got some dried vine fruits in there, some sultanas, maybe raisins.
Exactly.
Bit of nuts.
Put it in the work
I
lunchbox.
believe there's even some rice cakes in here. So they really mean everything when they say everything. So solid cookie.
They took it to the limit. This is really, really good. It's a great little biscuit.
Texture is always, to me, nearly as important as flavor when it comes to food.
What's in your Woolies Dash order?
So I mean, I've privately, I'm a big fan of the skill pikies.
Okay.
That's something that we really enjoy. No, I'm here. The hummus I really enjoy as well. The Malva pudding. Yeah,
Big fan.
And my kids, they love it, so we don't get around that one. Yeah,
it's something you guys have in common, but I know there's often some salami sticks in the kitchen.
Yeah, you're right.
So,
especially the ones with a bit of spice.
You're a family of 4, hey?
But we like a multi-generational household. My mother also lives in the same property and house as we do, so we're actually a family of 5.
Of 5, and you get the family-sized Malvas and the big salami sticks.
It's part of living hospitality is that we're very seldomly alone. So we don't buy small portions or small packaging small-sized meals in any way. Yeah.
So I think our snackitude levels are filled up.
We've peaked.
Definitely going to be investing in those everything but the kitchen sink cookies. I feel like it's a sweet version to like everything spice, but in cookie form.
So basically,
I'm here for it.
A staple then.
100%.
A staple in your pantry.
And
we do want to continue yapping with you because you are an interesting person, first of all. But we really want to get into what goes into the work that you do. One of the country's leading chefs, and it's not initially the route that you started on.
No.
Which is also a fun story. I mean, your law, as they say, is quite long. From studying statistics to becoming one of South Africa's best chefs. What did that journey look like?
I don't know. In hindsight, it's something that I can reflect on differently as it happened. But I think initially there was obviously the perspective of making money and having dollar signs in your eyes was there first when I finished school, and delved into studying law and then stats. And not very successfully, either one. But no, definitely not. And then, found my way more and more into the kitchen of the guest house that my mother was already running at that stage. And prior to that, I'd had a lot of access to good food, a lot of travel that was based around food, and I think that kind of really was where the prep started. That started in really this romance with produce that I think still really drives our cooking today.
Completely. And I think what's really cool is that the restaurant, the living room, I don't know if you know, is actually in his childhood living room. Yes. That is the dining room of the restaurant.
I figured that, and I wanted to find out about that because I've never been. I mean, it is absolutely a place that I want to visit, but you've dined there. What does it actually look like from the guest's perspective?
Not like a living room. Very much a restaurant. But I think what's so cool about that aspect of it being your childhood home is that, in addition to KZN's culinary diversity, you really lean into nostalgia, both of your own and your team. How did that come about to be part of your cooking philosophy? And also, why do you think it's important?
Well, I mean, when we started off, Johanna was obviously the brave one and taking the step and moving back from Europe to here. I mean, I knew what I was getting myself into. She'd only been, in Durban and South Africa for 3 weeks on holiday prior to that. But we came with a pretty clear vision of trying to, be ambassadors of the region because of its uniqueness. And we're kind of in between, two chairs and how we were going to do that, because on the one side, we were thinking about maybe bringing in, things like a bunny chow, but that then was like super cheesy. So we binned that relatively quickly and then focused on the people, the diversity that we have from a cultural point of view, and then the incredible diversity that we have in produce. From the subtropical coastline to inland, where it becomes more and more moderate from a climate point of view. It's probably the only place in the world where mangoes and porcini mushrooms share a season. So it's wild.
You're very, very spoiled, and decent weather helps.
Yeah.
Year round.
Year round.
Yeah, and a warm ocean.
Does that mean you're open all year round?
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. We generally take a little bit of a breather every winter and every summer, but when we aren't there, the restaurant's closed. That's kind of the way that we run it at the moment. But
they say never go into business with family. And you went the complete opposite direction. Your wife is involved running guest house and the restaurant, and you are raising 2 kids, and obviously your mom is involved too. How do you keep that balance? And also, how do you keep the relationships between all of you healthy? How do you still like each other?
Well, I think, what really helps is sharing a common goal, and what's also helped is that's also been met with, a certain amount of success and recognition. I think generally that's been great, but obviously, the main banner is that it's our passion and our life's work, and that's always what Johanna wanted to do, always what I wanted to do, and that my mom, is still an active part of that equation and really gives us a huge amount of backup. Obviously makes it, and also it's not always easy to especially work with me. Hannah is more relaxed, but I'm quite hard-minded in some occasions, and for them to then also know when to just ignore and brush aside my current lines of thoughts.
Right,
that's I think quite good. Yeah.
And I mean, it really is. You'll be in the restaurant, or I'll often pop in before I go for dinner before service, and the kids are running through the kitchen. And it really is such a family affair.
And do your kids understand what's going on, what you're trying to build? Because obviously, they're a big part of it.
It's something that really only started recently. I mean, look, they're quite young. Our eldest is 8 and our youngest is 6. And but now, obviously, we don't sit and indoctrinate them with what they're doing. But now,
they can be accountants if they want.
They obviously know that, or always knew that we were in the industry and cooked and served wine and hosted people for a living. But now, from school and interacting with other people and friends, they are starting to realize, that we've got a little bit of a standing in the industry, and I think that's pretty cool, yeah.
What is it, like career day at school? My dad is the best chef in the country.
Speaking of balance, obviously it extends, beyond family. You're a Comrades marathon runner. You've run the Comrades 3 times, in fact, and I know you're training for the 4th. Do you see any similarities between, hardcore marathon running and running a kitchen?
I struggle to play or to relax. I think that's the biggest problem. But I think in our industry, there's obviously there's a lot of temptation on all sides, and I think having a really good balance for that, or event for that, is important. And running is that for me. It's it gives me time for myself, which in the industry you don't have a lot, because you're always dealing with people for people. It's always busy, it's always hectic, there's always a lot going on. And just remove me from that and make sure that I don't have to answer or think about anything of that nature for a while. And then, Comrades, ever since I was a child, we live on the route. So ever since I was a child, I saw the crazy people running up or down the hill, and always dreamed of doing it.
The peer pressure was too much.
And then it happened, and it's my first one was lovely, my last one was not lovely. That's the way it is, yeah.
And I mean, it's a lot of intense training, not only for the Comrades, like you said, but the kitchen is hot, and kind of keeping the same level of consistency and excellence. You said, the last time you ran the Comrades, it wasn't as great as the last, but you're pretty consistent in the kitchen. How do you stay at that level?
Well, I think, to anyone who's ever worked or had insight into our industry, you'll realize that it really is a team effort. And as human beings, even though we always try and be the best, especially if we are ambitious, there's always fluctuations in our performance, and you need someone else in the team to buffer that. And I think that really is the crux of it, and having a good team and making sure that there's also a kind of, look, it's stressful. So I think healthy mindset is always a very broad kind of terminology, but I think having a respectful and homely place of work like we do definitely aids that. Yeah.
Like, as creatives, we all kind of struggle with is that, our hobbies and like habits and stuff, they often become like quite obsessions and become very passionate about them.
Sure. And it's difficult to remove yourself from that as well.
Yeah. Has a dish ever come to you mid-run?
Yeah,
it sounds
sure.
like yes.
Often, I think the place where the least creativity is in that regard is really the kitchen. Because you basically, not always, but generally stuck between a rock and a hard place.
You're so close to the source, yeah.
Exactly. So that's why, where the dishes are born, as cheesy as it is, the inspiration is always kind of nature. And they're born on the farm or on a run or in the forest or at the beach. That's kind of the way it is, yeah.
And KZN is a big part of your identity and your work. Do you ever see yourself being anywhere else or extending the restaurant to other places?
We're very happy in KZN.
Okay,
we
so
don't want to...
no one's whispering in your ear, make another one.
Well, there's always talk and there's always been offers, but
the email inbox is hot, Joe.
No, we're really happy in what we're doing, and it's a very unique setup, and it's also, to be clear, the only fine dining restaurant that we're ever going to do is going to be, the one that we focus on. Yes. No, but it's something that I think, Johanna and I are also very passionate on being hands-on in. And I think that obviously with the living room being this homely concept, the atmosphere is kind of governed by, especially Johanna being there. I can probably get away with it a little bit easier because the team is incredible and I'm not the persona on the floor.
Good to know, because I know there are people who are wondering out there. But we can't have you here as the Eat Out Woolworths Green Star recipient without talking about sustainability, which is a big, big part of the values that, that come to make you who you are. Can you talk us a little bit through about why sustainability is such a massive pillar in your life?
Well, I think, it's obviously linked to on the one hand, being privileged enough to have spent, from a very young age, a lot of time in nature. And I think, we've been mulling over how to express our philosophy regarding sustainability ever since we kind of started our own business. And what it's kind of come down to is really to try and put as little pressure on natural ecosystems as possible and really keeping nature natural, because that's kind of the big problem that we're facing in the world, that, natural biomes are just declining everywhere at a really rapid pace. So that's the heartfelt endeavor of what we're trying to do and why sustainability really matters to us. And then obviously, trying to be responsible and making sure that, when my son or daughter is of their age, that we can go and cast a rod into the ocean and actually catch a fish,
And when that is your ethos, is it a case of you've got a big board in your kitchen where you've got to hit all of the marks around your values? Are you strict? Are you strict?
Well, yeah, of course. But it's also, it's linked with so much training as well, because obviously it doesn't help if I live it and everyone else in the team doesn't, So it's something that we obviously speak about a lot and always try and improve. Yeah.
And I think, what's interesting about your mentality, and we've got some numbers here, but it's quite impressive, is that 90% of your produce comes within 150 kilometers of the restaurant. Yeah. The remaining 9.999999% comes from South Africa. And that remaining 0.0001% is an ingredient from Madagascar, an ingredient from Tanzania.
Yeah.
Why is this?
And spices.
And spices, yeah. How did this local identity start taking shape, and how did you make it come together in Durban?
How am I going to make this as hard as possible for myself?
As if running a restaurant is not difficult enough. Let me limit what I can use completely.
We were really spoiled when we were working abroad, in a sense that this kind of mindset of people using indigenous agriculture or heirloom ingredients and doing that in an organic way, or in a way with permaculture in mind, was something that was kind of normal to us in the supplies that we had. And then we got here and obviously none of that was there.
Wasn't the case.
So the two main struggles that we had when we started the living room was front of house staff and produce. And that's like, we went to markets and then we found someone who does this and then chatted to them and he referred us to someone else. And often, it was people that had these really utopic ideas of exiting the rat race and now going into farming, but it's just not easy. There's a reason why, there's so little people, invested in these organic permaculture projects because it's just really tough. And it's a 7-day-a-week job that you really need to live and be passionate about, just like what we do. And when we got around to the network that we have in place now, we really try and treat our suppliers very well.
And I think on the flip side, what's also interesting is as much as the ingredients you use is the ingredients you don't use.
Yeah.
And I think maybe it's a bit of time in Berlin. You're a bit of a sustainability punk. You've made the decision to not use any wild catch from the oceans at all.
Yeah.
I mean, that is pretty much at the forefront of sustainability as a concept right now. Tell us more about that and how that came to be and why it is so important to you.
Yeah, so I think, for us, there's no like subsistence fisheries like you have on the west coast of the Cape, for instance, where there's like multi-generational, fishers that do so on a small scale. And it was just very difficult for us to source sustainably caught fish. And B, it's a very heavily polarizing topic where one part says that there's still plenty and it's still plentiful and it's good to use. And the other side says, in 20 years' time or the generation of our children won't, for them it'll be a strange thought of catching a wild fish in the ocean. Everything will be aquaculture but when they're grown-ups. So we said, okay, we're looking at lists and saying, okay, what can we use, what can't we use, and how are we going to go about it? And in the end, unhealthy ecosystem is just an unhealthy ecosystem. It doesn't matter if you're now focusing on something that's more plentiful or not. Mm-hmm. And then we said, we're just going to pull out of this and say we're going to focus more on veg anyway, because irrespective of how we look at it, eating a lot of veg is probably the most sustainable thing you can do.
That's good.
And that's kind of it.
and Chef, in your opinion,
and we're spoiled with veg. We really spoiled with produce.
You really are very lucky that side. What do you think is holding people back from truly leaning into like sustainable living? I mean, whether they're starting a business or just their day-to-day personal lives?
Well, I think the question is obviously, very broad in a sense that, in South Africa, we've just got, a lot of problems, from socioeconomic problems and so on and so forth. And obviously, sustainability isn't, front of mind.
It's a future problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If you, struggling to make ends meet or worse. But on the other hand, what we also need to be like cognitive of is that without being sustainable or without having a sustainable outlook, it's not going to get better in the future either. So that's kind of the way that we try and juggle that and just try and do the right thing. Yeah.
Amazing. And as a trailblazer in sustainability, what do you think is next as a restaurateur, as a chef? What do you think is the next place that other chefs, other restaurants should be looking in terms of taking their sustainability journey further?
Well, I think, the easiest and best way to do it is really, it all starts with the source. Find your suppliers, cut out the middlemen, and make sure that you focus on getting it straight from where it's grown. Reduces packaging, generally brings it closer to home, which is always a good thing. And that's kind of the first instance that I'd recommend doing. Yeah,
I feel like while we're here, let's have a bit of fun
let's
as
have
well.
A bit of fun.
I've got my cable here and I've got my questions.
Right, so I'm ready.
And we've got our final sprint.
Yes.
Do you like the name there?
I do like it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
You are smart, brilliant chef. You are very thoughtful when it comes to answering questions and, thinking about your
Not
life.
quick fire questions.
We don't want you to think. We just want you to go.
Okay.
So we're just going to
let's
them
go.
out.
Should we do 1-1?
We should do 1-1.
Okay.
Okay, I'll start.
You start.
First nostalgic snack you ever loved as a kid?
I think it's cheesy, but I think like tomatoes fresh off the vine.
Okay.
Amazing. I mean, I feel bad asking this one. If you could choose one KwaZulu-Natal ingredient to use and one to lose forever, which would they be?
She said, I don't know if I can give a short answer to that.
Oh no, thesis is coming.
One that I'm really passionate about are the different mushroom species that we get at home, because they're all cultivated by termites. There's a long story there. Indigenous to Southern Africa, one to lose. Susus. Chayote. I think it's something that I always struggle with a bit, and it doesn't have a lot of flavor. Yeah.
Oh, someone will have something to say about that. Guava roll or banana fritter, which one wins in a dessert duel?
Sure, hey,
The comment
I'm
section's
for
going to
both.
be wild.
I'm for both, guava roll.
The one dish your mom makes that you still can't beat? Christine's going to love this question.
This is also going to be a heavy polarizing one, but my mom makes a really good chicken heart stew.
Okay, that you have not quite
No,
nailed
it just
like
doesn't
this.
taste the same.
Okay. If your kids could design a course for the living room menu, what would it be?
She said, my kids only grow up with cooking over fire, so it'll probably be something around braai.
Who's the tougher critic? Johanna, your mom, the kids, or your team?
The kids.
Who do you go to
I'll
first?
be diplomatic here.
Who do you go
No, Johanna, yeah.
Okay. Have you had dinner service that felt worse than the last 10 kilometers of a comrade?
I think the worst service I've ever had was a breakfast service, to be honest. That I'd say was worse, yeah, definitely.
What makes
you're big,
breakfast?
we have to take it
Oh, my goodness.
What makes breakfast so difficult?
I've only worked in like Michelin star restaurants, and the one had a little brasserie that was attached to it. And in the 3 months that until the vacancy was free in the restaurant, I was working in the brasserie, and they also served breakfast, hey? And, like cooking eggs to different, temperatures and all of that. And I think I was alone. It was 120 breakfast. Mm-hmm. I didn't see any light for like 3 hours, 4 hours. Yeah, pushing
like
through.
I feel as though
And it was an open kitchen, so you had the whole restaurant also looking in, and
Watching
everyone
you
just saw me
make
spinning
eggs.
and rotating, and everyone was waiting. So it was a really, really uncomfortable one.
I think the lesson here as people who enjoy a breakfast.
Let other people make your breakfast.
Right, be patient.
Only go for breakfast if you have time.
Lastly, is there a burning question you've always wanted to ask Woolies?
Yeah, I think, what's always been difficult for me is to see bananas in cling wrap.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bananas in packaging. Because they come with their own packaging, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we'll have to get that.
Yeah, we'll get that answer for you.
Yeah. From quickfire to the cold seat.
Yes, of course. The cold seat. Every episode, we ask a Woolworths guest the questions you're all dying to know the answers to. The cold seat is a place cooler than the dairy aisle in your favorite Woolies Sibs. Let's bring on today's guest, Sally Holderness. She is the Head of Product, Trends, Insight, Strategy and Science at Woolworths. Sally, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. Johannes, I have a little gift for you.
Very much.
I love that. At Woolies, you never leave empty-handed. Sally, welcome. What a
Thank
title. What a title. And it seems that you get to wear many hats, but could you just succinctly tell us what you do?
So at Woolies, I'm the Head of Trends, Insight, Strategy and Science. So we look at what's happening in the world, we instill customer insights, and then we help direct the strategy for foods. But I'm actually also wearing my old produce hat today.
Okay, absolutely.
Yes, so we have our cold seat question for you from Chef Johannes. Chef Joy, you want to take it away?
You have the floor.
So, the biggest eyesore that I always have walking into, a shop is seeing bananas packaged and cling wrapped. So that would be my question. Why that is the case? Yeah.
It's a very valid question and a really, I think the most comprehensive answer that I can give is that there are a couple of things that we really, really are passionate about at Woolies, as you know, and that is around quality, around managing food waste, protecting about the sustainability of food, and then also around sustainability in terms of the planet. So unfortunately, those three things are different sides of the same coin. So in our efforts to manage packaging, we also have to keep food waste in mind. So, and bananas is a wonderful example of a project that we embarked on a while ago. We were deeply passionate about and still are removing as much plastic as we can, ideally all. But packaging does fulfill a really necessary purpose in food as well when you're looking after food waste. So we did a trial in I think about 6 stores recently, and that was removing all of plastic from bananas. So our suppliers invested in the technology of banding our bananas with zero plastic, just a little craft band. And we went into stores and we trialed that for a couple of weeks. And unfortunately, what happens is the bananas get rubbed and then they get black marks on it and they get bruised. And unfortunately, our customers are not used to that. They're used to very perfect produce. So what happened is that we had enormous waste in all of those stores. And what happens to that, although we do have a huge number of charities that we support and would come and would give the bananas to the charities, there's only so many bananas that they can really use. So that was really driving food waste. So, we've got to balance the two sides of the coin. We can't have food waste. So what we do instead, and also actually, another interesting part is that the banana bags actually control the shelf life of them as well. So as soon as you have bananas out of a bag, they ripen very quickly and customers maybe can't use them all at once. So then they would also waste them at home. And that's just sacrilege. Food wastage is something we have got to protect. So what we do is we offer loose bananas. We do a small amount of bananas that we can manage easily in store, and we have those as loose options. So buy into our loose bananas with zero packaging at all. And then wherever we do use packaging, it has got to be totally recyclable. So we remove it where we can, we reduce it where we can, and then we use the best material, the most sustainable material for it. And that's how we try and manage the two. Ideally, we would have no packaging at all. But when it prevents food waste, that is something that we are really, really passionate about.
So I guess it comes down to the consumer and then to leave the packaging away and buy loose things from the shelf.
100%.
Stop touching the bananas.
Don't drop.
Thanks, Sally. No, I think that gives us a lot of perspective, and also it makes us, more mindful shoppers to understand why certain decisions are made in the store. Are you happy, Joe? You're going to sleep better tonight?
Very much so.
Sally and Joe, thank you so much for joining us. You're both fantastic guests. And that brings us to the end of the episode.
Yes, that is What's the Difference, a Woolworths podcast. We are going to be lining up some incredible guests who will be joining us right at this table.
Completely. And if you enjoyed the episode, please like, follow, subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Bye-bye.